favorite TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
In every man's life, there is a treasure. There is something in you that God deposited in you. There is a calling, there is a gift, there is a grace, there is something special that God put in your life. Now, and we say that in Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4 and 5. So he said, then the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nation. We said the other day here that, Jeremiah could have become a president, could have become a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever he would have become. And that would not have changed what God has said about him. Because this is before he even was formed in his mother's womb. So God was being, so they are prophets in precedence. They are apostles in precedence. They are inventors in doctors. There is what God ordained a person to become before they were formed in the mother's womb. Now, once you begin your journey of life, and that is what I want to emphasize on two things before we get into other things that are important for us to press on from where we stopped last time, is this. Once you are born and you begin your journey on the face of the earth, it is your personal responsibility. God will not discover what he deposited in you. It is your personal responsibility. So you must look for all the signs, the indicators, and the things that are leading your life to something. Once you begin your journey of life, and I want you to listen to this because it's very important. At a certain age of your life, where destiny opens for men, and men I say without a gender, there are things that will come through your life or against your life or for your life that will either to break you, destroy you for what you are created for, or to form you for what you are created for. I want to repeat that again. Many people lose where they were supposed to begin their entry to their greatness in life. In life, they say, teenage issues, others say midlife crisis issues, all those kind of things. Now, in the real sense, they are defining one thing. Come, Kevin. There is an age in your life where certain things will be demanded in your life. Not by anybody, by nature, by what you are as a human being. There's a certain age of your life. So all these other ages, you may be brought up in a family that maybe they didn't know many things. You may be brought up in a dysfunctional family. And let me tell you, that's something that is very important. That may not count a lot because you have no choice over it. But at a certain age of your life, you will begin to have either things that come as opportunities for your life or traps for your life. And I want you to write those two words. Opportunities or traps. And that's why you discover even many people who today are struggling with life, in one time of life, they had an opportunity to enter into a certain area that was to be the path that was ordained for them for the great future God had for them. They had an opportunity for place to develop diligence, discipline, dedication, commitment, and other things that matter to their future. But because they were not sensitive, that's why matters of calling, assignment, and who you are and your purpose in life should be basic in Sunday school. They should be introduced in Sunday school. Because you see, if those people, because it is that energy that is normally trapped. And by the time many people are coming back to church, they're already tired. By the time people are coming into salvation, they have been dismantled and they have carried so many baggage of the things that cannot really help them to function in what they're supposed to be. There are people who are supposed to be great neurosurgeons in the world, who are walking in the path of the kingdom of God, but today they are in beer palace. Because when the time was to come, something trapped them. It looked like it was a good thing, but it was the wrong thing for their life. That's why everybody early in life, you must value and discover who you are before you discover who you are. It's very important. You must discover who you are. You must discover who you are. And that's what we say, don't rush into marriage before you settle on the question of identity. Don't rush to marriage before you settle on the issue of identity. And don't try to look for identity from activities and things. Don't try to look for identity from activities and things or people. Settle yourself so that by the decisions you make, you are clear on where you are heading. You are clear on what you are becoming. You are clear on what are the pursuits of your life. You are clear on what are the priorities of your life. What are the values? What are the things you cannot compromise in your life? What are the things that marks you as a person? In every family, whether they were born again or not born again, for the sake of destiny and ordination of God, whether a family was a Christian born again family or not born again, by natural traits, God provides one parent, if not both, in every setup of a family to be a person who can be able to be used to shape a certain gift of God in that particular family. I want to repeat that again. Yeah. I want you to go and do a homework for your parents. Either check your mother or check your father, if not both of them. And you will discover that there was one of them that God said. If you maybe come from a single family, you discover maybe your mother had something you may not have taken it serious at that time. Because we are glued to education. We are glued to going to school. We are glued to better certificates. But life is not ordained for better certificates. Life is ordained for better values of life. Is what makes men. So you will discover there was somebody that God put in your life at a certain age before you met life to begin to educate you in the wrong way, because your first environment on earth will determine how you react to life as you move on. Your first environment, the first place you found yourself in will determine. It's called your foundation of your life. It's the foundation of your life. So at a certain age of your life, you will come to a place where you will have either opportunities or traps to be able either to trap you or to give you an opportunity to step into what was supposed to be meant for your life, or to put the right values and the foundations for your life. Most of us today, we are struggling with what we failed to do in our foundation. Many people struggle with what they fail to do in their foundation. If you walk up at the right time of your life to discover who you are and what you're supposed to become in this life, you will have done what is required for your future, not for that particular time of your life. Very, very important. So at that particular time, 3 things are important. Number 1 is the people you meet or you interact with. Every greatness in a man takes another man either to discover it, to see it, and call it forth. Very important. Every greatness in a man, I want to start with the greatness. That means that which special thing that God put in your life. That special thing that God put in your life. It will take a man, and when I say a man without gender, that will be able to discover that thing and call it forth, or begin to mentor and walk with that particular gift. That's why all your life, learn and live to value people. All your life, learn and live to value people. There are people that God will keep on specific junctions of your destiny. Value them. Know them and discover them from calling, not from physical side of life. There are people that God will position on specific areas of your life. They can be mentors, they can be teachers, they can be places. You meet a man that will become. Now, the challenge is this. Many of us will look for people we like. Many people look for people that they like. So, and if that is the principle you live for, you will miss the people sent to you by God at specific junctures of your life. Because there are people you will not like them. Like your trainer, you will never like them. Because they begin to put disciplines and certain structures of your life. And it's not easy to put structures in people. Even in children, it's not easy to put structures in them. And that's why they say there is a place called school. School. You start your first school at home, where if your family had discipline, there was certain time for eating. There was a certain time to do certain things. There was a certain thing. You'll find that even if your mother was not a graduate, there was some structure that were not written anywhere in your family. There were some laws, even if they were not written somewhere, like the 10 Commandments, that you knew there are certain things in your family cannot be entertained by your mother and your father. True or false? So it's a school. So you discover there is a time to wake up, at a certain time in your family. I'm saying your family had some structures. So there was a time to wake up and those kind of things. Now, from that particular time, when your mother would say this feeding time, you are growing up as a child, then you came to a place now, she took you to school. School, formal school, where you found a person called a teacher. A parent is your first teacher. And I want you to write that in capital letters. Today's Mother's Day. Your mother is your first teacher. That's why if you ignore your mother, you can't go far. So it took you to a teacher. Now the teacher had to organize a structure for you. That is, this is a time for break, this is a time for classes, this is a time for whatever, this is a time to do those kind of things. Then you are taught certain things to do. Now the challenge is this. You had school at home. Then you went for 12 years of school, formal school and whatever. Now, when you leave school, you must become your own teacher. That's why issues of discipline, dedication, diligence must be formed in you in the formal schools. Now you have what we call the internal leadership, personal self-government. You don't need an external force to tell you wake up. You don't need someone to tell you this. And that's where many lives are wasted. If you did literature in school, you discover there were some set books you have to read for you to be able to do literature and those kind of. Now, that issue of set books was to help you when you leave formal school to read the Bible and to read other books that can help you in other areas of life. Unfortunately, many people took it like punishment. Or many people took it like reading for an exam. They passed exams, they got an A, but today they can read a book of 300 pages. So you wasted the time that you were supposed to put something inside. Everything external in your age of entry of life should put something internal that cannot be removed by anybody, that will keep you in any environment in the world without changing your identity. Every time you find that somebody who is training you and those other kind of things, external, telling you do this, don't do this. Now, if you remain at that level, you are not growing. So all these things you are being told is so that one day you can stand by your own. Read your Bible 6 chapters, 10 chapters, 3 chapters, or 1 chapter without any supervision. You can be able to go outside of the country for 6 months, having left your wife at home, and you don't become immoral. Because you don't live by external supervision. And that's what one of the biggest challenge when you are not delivered from the old thinking of your life. So where you must always be supervised. That's why you should never leave career, employment, to self-employment before you get self-discipline. Because where you went to work 8 because of salary, you should have discipline enough to go to work at 5 without salary. It is something, everything external, everything that is being done, those kind of things, is supposed to put something in your life. We should not live for, the things that we receive good. We should live great life because we are great people. There should be something in you that drives you bigger than in sentiments of life. The things that are given to you to encourage you on the path of destiny. So take care of the traps that comes to you at the time you are supposed to enter into the programs of God for your future. Traps will always look good to every eye naturally. God desires us to increase in every sector of our lives if we have a destiny consciousness in us. That's why programs and structures of growth are mandatory. Every place you find yourself in, Isaiah 9 and verse number 8, God calls one man. And from that one man, he has many other people in mind. Everybody must understand this concept of life, that you are not an individual, you are a nation. It is very, very important. It will help you to take your life with the seriousness it demands. You are not just a person. So your failure is not a failure of an individual. Stretch your hand before God. Say, I will not fail. Say, I'll do whatever I must do to arise for the sake of the people attached to my destiny. Lift your hand and say, I will not fail in life. I will not fail the destiny, the calling, the call of God, the assignment of God in my life. For my failure is a failure of many other people. One man's call has many other people in mind, in the mind of God. So he said, I sent a word to Jacob, a man. It enlightened the entire of Israel, a nation. So all these struggles, and that's why we can't die before we manifest what we were sent by God here to manifest. Your life is so big than what you know. The battles you face are not personal battles. They are nation battles. When the enemy is coming against your finances, against your marriage, against your health, he is not coming against money in the bank. He is not coming against your health, your head, your body, or whatever. He is coming against who and what is attached to your life. And that's why it is important. Once you know there are people that are behind your life, there are people that if you don't rise, they will not rise. Does it shock you to discover that the millions of people that were in Egypt for 400 years, when heaven was ordaining the generations to come after Abraham, all those millions of people, they were attached to one man called Moses. That's why God will make sure you don't die. Even when you are running away from the call of God, running away, drinking and doing all those kind of things, God still located you. People are left with your history, but God is left with your future and ordination. Because all this time, the mother of Moses and the father were looking at the boy and said, we can't kill this boy. It's not possible. We can't allow this boy to die. They thought they were just becoming good parents. They didn't know. Before Moses was formed in his mother's womb, there was an ordination for him that all the children of Israel, millions of people, to come from Egypt, to go to the promised land. There is a man called Moses. And in the life of Moses, there is another great commander and great leader that will come after him, and his name is Joshua. So Moses must live well, because his life is not only to lead people, but also to raise another man's ministry, who will also in turn take this thing to another thing. So that's why the consciousness, life should be beyond activities. Life should be lived consciously. You should not live in the places of just excitement and exciting people. Lift your life to a place of understanding. I have a word. It must lighten my generation. It must go beyond my family. It must go beyond my nuclear family. My finances that God has given me, they must go beyond my dressing, my eating, my whatever. It must go beyond that. Life is bigger than a name you are given by your mother. He sent a word to Jacob. It enlightened the entire of Israel. That's why God could not have allowed Jacob to die the witchcraft of his uncle, where he was in Laban's house. God is conscious, not of your comfort. God is conscious of what he ordained you for before you were formed. In life, you must reach a place where, you must reach a place where you you are conscious of not just what you are doing, follow me, what you are leaving behind. Will you leave buildings? Will you leave only programs or DNA? That's why you can plant churches or plant sons. You can have a church full of members, but no single son. Members cannot perpetuate your DNA. Members go with excitement. They go with what is current is trending. That's why you can look like your father, but to behave like your father and to carry the values of your father is training. Your ears can be the ears of your father. You see? You can even have a nose like the nose of your father. But for you to carry the values, the status of your father and the DNA of your father is work. Is work. Is work. That's why that should be the greatest cry of every parent. Will we only leave siblings on earth, or will we leave our DNA? Is what that we are gathered today will one day somebody wake up and waste it with mugoka and drinking? Because we gave them things, but we never trained them. We never put them in the structure and the program. That's why God can't bless anywhere where there is no structure and programs to instill the values of the kingdom. It's a training you have to go through. There are things that has to be instilled in you. Once we want to put you now to another level of training, programs should be there that are progressive to increase certain stature and capacity to handle certain matters of the kingdom that will perpetuate and preserve a generation. Never compromise your growth and your structure and your program for growing, not for your sake, but for the sake that attached, people attached to your life. You don't pass on what you want or you like. You pass on what you have become. It's very, very important. Lift up your right hand before God. Say, Holy Spirit, help me to be diligent in my structures and programs of growth, holistic growth, to become what I was ordained by God to become. Lift your hand and say it well. Say, Father, I receive grace. Help me to be diligent to the programs, the structures that I have to go through to become what I was ordained to become. Take what you are connected to or who you are connected to seriously. The first structure of your growth in destiny and assignment is a person. People go through programs of growth, and it is by a person that God brings to you. It may not even be a senior pastor. It may be like a pastor like her who is in charge of a certain department. God will bring somebody in your life as a structure to grow. But now we are talking in the terms of the local church. So take serious structures that are all set by God for you to grow to become what God wants you to become. Men are announced, advertised by God when God is sure of their stature in